There we go. All righty.
Great.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Little kid, I got kids home sick, so
Oh no.
they just, yeah, you know how that goes. Just
Yeah.
happens. A little chaotic,
Yeah,
but we're doing okay.
that's Friday, so that's also good.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Although Saturday in Australia, so weekend time.
Yes.
Yeah. So cool. Okay. So then, yeah, I'm really excited. And you guys let me know if you have questions specifically, but I am today going to be talking all about Instagram DMs and using it to grow your list with getting appointments, lead magnets, whatever. I mean, obviously you've seen Dan do this a ton with Facebook and Instagram, but Instagram is obviously, as you know, most of us know, really a great place for organic. Facebook, not so much. Facebook pages, not so much, but Instagram is really the place to be to take advantage of organic growth and utilize your chatbot with it. So first, before I jump in, let me know in the chat. First of all, if you are currently using Instagram for getting leads, and then if you are using a chatbot for that.
And while they're replying, I have a question for you because I know sometimes
Yeah.
people tend to hyper focus on one platform. So as if somebody, like a couple people are saying they're not really using it. When somebody jumps into using Instagram, which I agree, like it does seem like that's where a lot of the the easy to grab attention is right now. That actually converts, I should say. Add that little caveat on there because of TikTok. But anyways, at one point, at what size account do you feel like this is going to be useful? Is it right away once they've got some people? Like, let's give them a little bit of a kind of a practical why they should jump in.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So with organic with organic growth and using Instagram for organic means with your chatbot, obviously having more people who are following you, the better, just because then you have more people who have eyes on you with your stories, with your reels, and with your posts. So the best, it's like, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. Next best time is now. So same thing. If you haven't started using Instagram, which I 100% admit, I did not start using Instagram really until chatbots came into the realm of Instagram. So it hasn't been like, I've always been good at Facebook groups. That was been my, why go into Instagram if I didn't need to? Just because also there were no chatbots. But now there are chatbots. I'm like, okay, this makes sense and can really utilize that. So which a lot of people are saying that, haven't used it, no application, not currently using Instagram. Some are using Instagram. So most of you guys aren't. So this is great. So you want to just get started and, post your content there, make sure that it's relatable to your audience for sure. But Instagram is kind of like a mix in a way of Facebook and Twitter, where using hashtags is super important to help get you in front of new people organically. So that's where that piece really comes into play. Hashtag, I mean, you can do hashtags on Facebook, but people don't really search hashtags so much. So having the ability to reach people outside of your following, to build your following, that's one way to do that. Especially with reels. Reels also, they get recommended to people. So of course, with Facebook's or Meta's algorithm, they know what people are interested in. So if you are obviously speaking the language of that person based off of what their niche is, then that will help to get people into there. So that's one thing, but of course, all the other growth tactics that you can do organically help, getting people to follow you on Instagram, posting about it, cross posting on, if you're on TikTok, saying, follow me on Instagram, things like that really helps. And also a chatbot will really help you grow your Instagram in terms of you can, like I said, cross promote and say, hey, message me on Instagram with this keyword and you'll get XYZ. So they have incentive, right? And then you can also ask them to follow you there. The question is, what is a reel? A reel is like like an Instagram story, but it's longer and it doesn't disappear. So it's like a video. So Instagram separates your posts by posts and reels and tags. So reels are videos. And sorry, I just ate. So with the reels, sorry, my cat's moving around now. With the reels on your Instagram, when you're looking at reels and you're going through them, Facebook it's like TikTok too. So that's actually a lot of people repurpose TikTok content into reels. And you can actually go through reels and it'll start to just suggest more reels based off of, other accounts that you follow and things like that. So the cool thing with a chatbot is a really simple way to get people into your chatbot from Instagram is the comment growth tool based off of commenting on your posts and or your stories or your reels. So they can comment anything, or you can have them comment certain things. And that will get them right into your chatbot and they can go into a specific flow. So things like, lead magnets or getting people to schedule appointments. It's a great way to get people. Sorry, my watch decided that I was talking to her. But being able to get people into your chatbot to opt in for those things is amazing. Oh my God, Siri, I'm not talking to you. And if you guys have seen the articles lately about the Bing Sydney, speaking of automation and bots, if you haven't checked that out yet, check that out. It's pretty crazy. This bot was getting snarky and saying that he would potentially hurt somebody in a way that they could hurt somebody.
The only one I saw, I've missed some of that, but the only one I saw was the ones where people are asking about it being sentient, and then it gets competitive, like it'll get competitive and call out like another, AI. It's funny.
Yeah. So just a real quick FYI, there was a guy who somehow tricked the Bing version of the AI into like hacked it some way, and so it figured out that it did that, and so it was asking what would you do, do you hate this person or what would you do, and they said, well, since this person hurt me and could potentially make the issues for Bing, that he would be the AI Sydney would be willing to dox the person and post the person's address everywhere and all that stuff. It was pretty crazy.
Oh my God. We actually, Nicole brings up a good point. Dan actually posted that he had been playing with Chat GPT and he had been training it on certain frameworks to see if it could write copy as in his style, and it knows who he is, which is funny because. And I noticed that too, because I've used it for copy for us. And so I know it knows who Dan is because I've asked it to write copy for us. And it gives like it's almost like it crawled like our about, page, or I don't know. It took some input, I can tell, from like, not from Dan, like a third party, very sanitized kind of like bio stuff, but it is really interesting. And we're going to be talking Dan's call this month, which is not this coming Monday, but next Monday, is going to be all about Chat GPT, because he's learned some new stuff that he wants to talk about, which is exciting. So yeah,
that is, and that'll be cool because like my next call, I can actually talk a bit about implementing Chat GPT with your chatbot. Of course, that's like way more advanced too. Like, some people are like, I just want to put a chatbot on my Instagram, but you can use Chat GPT with your chatbot to do things like verifying, emails, or seeing, if it has context is correct, or trying to, figure things like that out. But there's actually also a Google NLP, natural language processing functionality called Dialogflow that actually you can train it and it can become and understand intent, and it can get smarter. So that's like super advanced stuff, but
Very
it's
cool.
definitely, yeah, definitely something cool that is like along the lines of ChatGPT. So anyway, just went down that rabbit hole, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. So yeah, anyway, so there's a lot of things that you can do with your chatbot that can help automate things. I mean, I have clients that they couldn't do this without a chatbot, because like having lead magnets and stuff. And so like one client of mine, for example, has 500,000 followers, and she promotes something, one of her lead magnets, and says, just comment below, and you'll get in our, bot will send it to you. So doing that versus having to go through each comment and then manually sending it, it saves a lot of time. So that's definitely, once you start building your list, that's definitely a way to really start to utilize that and use your chatbot to get more people in. So, but yeah, I mean, if you're brand new starting with Instagram, just start growing it, start, posting stuff, cross posting. Of course you can do ads, although just an FYI, like the comment growth tool doesn't work on ads. So just so you know, so people can't comment on those posts, not on the ads, I should specify, on Instagram ads. It does work on Facebook ads, but if you're wanting to grow Instagram, obviously you're running ads on Instagram. So you can still do chatbot ads on Instagram. It's just they click a button and then they go into DMs. So that's slightly different. But the organic piece is really a game changer for a lot of people. You just got to, as you know, when you're starting a new channel, you got to just really focus on getting people going there. You can do other things like contests, giveaways, anything like that you can get people to tag their friends in it, or people that are similar. Of course, with it being, if you're B2B, it's a little bit more challenging, I guess. I won't say difficult, but just, trying to make sure you're getting the right people into your bot versus like, you're a restaurant that's running, for a gift card giveaway, and anybody who's in the area can, opt in and be an ideal person. So, but yeah, so what I'm going to, let me see. Eric says, can you emulate the high level AI bot process where you can say text trigger to this number to get our best offer? And can you connect that to a ChatGPT dialog flow within ManyChat? So you can still do that. I guess, so like you could do a post, and maybe I haven't used high level bot, so I'm not quite sure exactly how that functions, but you can have it say, reply with this keyword to get our offer or get whatever, and then it will send it in ManyChat, send it directly to them, whatever that flow is. So I'll go over keywords a bit too. I mean more about SMS triggers to a phone number. So I guess that depends. Like my suggestion is, if you are reaching people on Instagram or Facebook and you're using ManyChat, you don't want to necessarily go to a third or a second platform if you don't have to. So if you can reach them on Instagram and Facebook for free, an SMS costs money, and it's also then a third, or sorry, I guess I'm saying third because if it's like an ad to DMs and then to SMS, then it makes sense to just keep them on the platform. There's also a thing called recurring notifications that people can opt into. For Facebook, that's open to everybody. Instagram right now it's in beta, but it is amazing on Instagram. With it being in beta, I have access to it, so I can get some of my clients on it, and it's just, they just opt in for getting recurring notifications, and you can send them whatever, after they opt in. So, but with SMS specifically with ManyChat, you still can use ManyChat with SMS, but they have to opt in to that SMS by giving their phone number. So, but once they give their phone number in like Instagram, then you can just send them a text message. So, I might not be understanding quite exactly what your process is, but if that's not the case, or if that is the case, then let me know. Let's see. I wanted to build a bot to track radio leads with a short code trigger on SMS, for example. Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, I mean, then you would just have them DM you a short code, or not short code. You just have them DM you a keyword, and then you can track it that way, right? So if it's like a specific ad that you just say, message on Instagram or message on Facebook or whichever, you can say either or with this keyword to get this, then that's the way that you can track it. And if it's only for that specific ad, then that would work. So the only thing is then they would have to find, be able to go to your page first and then message. So the other thing you can do is a QR code. Well, I guess radio, you can't do QR, it's not visual. I've done that with Hulu ads with QR codes that take people to the bot. So that's why I was like, oh yeah, just do a QR code. But the other thing is if you have like a pretty link or something that you can just say, go to a vanity URL that redirects to the chatbot, then that's also an option too. Okay, cool. So
I think he was thinking like the entry point would be text message, like they would start there.
Oh, I see. So ManyChat doesn't have a direct SMS opt-in. I mean, I guess if somebody texts a certain number, then they could. So with the chatbot, although I have to say this because they're changing it. So ManyChat's changing around their SMS a bit, where they're just directly integrating with Twilio. So it's going to be a Twilio account. You can still send everything, all the automations and everything from within ManyChat itself, but they are pretty much having Twilio do all the billing and all that stuff. But then ManyChat will be the ability to set up the automation, send that out. So you can have people text a certain keyword into ManyChat to the SMS number, and then you can have people, and it'll be able to have a keyword that can send a reply. So you can do keywords in SMS. It is two-way. So if that's what you're asking, which I think it is now, I think I understand now what you're saying. So yeah, you can do that with Messenger, with Instagram, and with SMS, with ManyChat. So
yeah, and then he said, so that would allow you to have a phone number at that point. Okay.
Huh. Yeah. So right now you can have a phone number. So you could sign up for ManyChat right now and get an SMS, and it'll give you a number. You can't choose your number. So if you want to have a specific number, like for example, like with some local restaurant clients, I have a random number that doesn't have, it's not even the area code, which kind of sucked. I was like, can't we choose our own area code or whatever? But that wasn't the option. So, but with Twilio, you can, I think, I remember last time I actually bought a number in Twilio, you can say what area code you want it in, unless they've changed that. So, so with that being the case, I mean, that's going to happen soon. I would say within the next few weeks, couple weeks, at most, I think. So, yeah, so that's definitely coming soon. So if you already have a number in Twilio, I think you could probably also port it in, or use it for that. But I'm not sure yet. They haven't implemented the new setup with that, but it's coming. So, and then can you speak to the API integration of ChatGPT? Okay, so I won't do that today because I want to talk about Instagram, but for that specifically, also I'm not a coder, so but I do know enough to be dangerous. But in terms of the ChatGPT Dialogflow, for Dialogflow, I recommend Janice.ai. That directly integrates as a ManyChat app that directly integrates Dialogflow with ManyChat. And Janice is great because it actually helps walk you through like training your bot and stuff. And then ChatGPT, there are actually a few different apps that are ManyChat apps that have been created by developers that can integrate the two. But what I'll do if it's obviously if Dan's doing his thing next, not this Monday, but the next Monday, then I'll plan on at least touching on that on my next call, unless there's some other big training thing that people want instead. So oh yeah, it's JANIS, sorry. JANIS.ai. And then, yeah, let's see.
Like
Handset.
Joplin. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why they chose that, but the bot can push your actual number, your phone number out or create a random number. So right now it's a random number. So if you want with a random area code, and with ManyChat right now, it's only US. So, but once this switch happens, then it will open it up to anybody who can have a Twilio number. So it can be international. So if you are international, you'll definitely want to wait until that change has happened. And then also if you want a specific number or specific area code, then definitely wait until the integration there, or the setup with Twilio is done. So that way you can choose your area code. I don't think, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Twilio, you can choose a number that's already taken, like a business number. I know like Avocado, I think, or Zipwhip, those ones you can actually choose to text from the business's number. I have a physical therapist client that does that we are able to send a text from the business number, which is beneficial for a local business because you can say, save this number in your phone, I'll be texting you or whatever. But I don't think Twilio has that option. And yes, WhatsApp is another channel that you can have in ManyChat because, yeah, Meta does own WhatsApp. So if you have WhatsApp, that's a whole nother rodeo in terms of with WhatsApp for business. You if you port it into ManyChat, you can't use it on your phone. It's going to be only they only allow one use of your WhatsApp number, so you can't have which I found this out with a client of mine. I felt kind of bad. I was like, yeah, well, we got to put it into ManyChat if you have all these contacts, which was fine. But then she's like, oh, I can't do WhatsApp for business, like group messages. I'm like, I guess not. So this is when we were starting out with ManyChat, or sorry, with WhatsApp. But so there are some limitations and stuff. But if you're not worried about, or if you haven't used WhatsApp before and you want to start using it, then you can just create a new number and connect it to ManyChat. You have to verify it first through the Facebook Business Manager. But yeah, WhatsApp is also a channel that you can use within ManyChat, which is great. And then what exactly does Janice do? So Janice connects ManyChat to Dialogflow, which is Google's NLP AI, and makes it easy for it's kind of helps to hold your hand to be able to train your bot utilizing Dialogflow, and it uses Slack to actually help you train your bot. So it's great for somebody who wants to try, and it also has some like predetermined NLP phrases and stuff. So it also kind of helps to get your bot going straight away. But you do need to train it a bit. So it's definitely worth doing it that way rather than just directly integrating with
versus
Dialogflow.
something everybody kind of finds out, I feel like, unless you're really deep in the AI stuff, is that these tools are really fun, but then you get into something like ChatGPT and you realize, I know I did very, very quickly that it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, I need to know how to prompt properly. That's the entire thing. You can like, I can ask it any surface level thing, and it's like, I am like a child in preschool. There's just no like, and at college, right? Like, it's just, for sure there's so much more potential you can unlock, and the name of the game really is, how do I write a good prompt? And so if Janice walks you through more of that kind of more conversational, here's how to train it, here's how to use it, that's probably pretty helpful for people who are not going to, I don't know, like fall down that kind of that rabbit hole.
Well,
right?
And then also because ChatGPT is general, whereas Dialogflow, you can actually train it with actual information about the business itself. So it gets smarter. So like, let's say, for example, you're using it for, let's just say a restaurant, right? So you can actually train your Dialogflow chatbot to know what the hours are, what the address is, things like that. Whereas if you go to ChatGPT, well, I guess you could type it in, but it might not know, what location is. And of course, if you're integrating ManyChat with ChatGPT, then you're taking that person's direct input and putting it into chat GPT and then getting the response out, which then it would say something like, where is this located? So it sounds dumb, right? So the benefit of Dialogflow is that, and Janice, is that you can actually train it for your business. So it can spit out actual responses that are related to what you're actually doing. You can, put in, information about your products, your offers, things like that, and train that. And the big thing is it actually, like I said, knows intent. So it can take what someone's asking and get an idea, what exactly it is, if it's positive or negative, and then, like what would be the next step. So if you're interested in having a smart chatbot, I would start with Janice and Dialogflow first, because that would be the one that would probably be most relevant, unless there's something like I was saying, like with ChatGPT, you could use it to verify, it would, like, somebody would input, let's say, for example, an email address, or would reply with something, and then you could ask, ChatGPT, hey, does this have the email address, or does this contain an email address? And then it could, do that back. So the other thing too, I'm sure you've seen, is ChatGPT, although it's, it provides a lot of copywriting. It's amazing. Like, I do chatbot copywriting. I don't do sales page copywriting, email copywriting. I guess email is kind of the next step that I'm okay with, but ChatGPT can write some amazing things. Sometimes though, it's not completely accurate. So like, for example, and I just posted this on my Facebook page last night, I was for one of my clients, we're creating an ad, and we're using if you guys are from the 80s and 90s, you grew up, there was an ad campaign from Sega Genesis versus Nintendo, and it's called Genesis Does. So it's like talking about Sega Genesis does these things, but Nintendo don't. So that was their whole thing. So if you go on YouTube, you can see the ad. So we're kind of doing a spoof off of that and recreating that, but obviously I don't know the song, and we're trying to recreate the song in like GarageBand or whatever. We have, somebody who's actually singing the pieces, but we need the actual audio that it sounds good, that doesn't sound like it was recorded from YouTube. And so we're trying to recreate it, but we're just like, well, what are the chords, right? So we're like, oh, well, let's use ChatGPT. And so I was asking it, like, I forget exactly how I asked it, but something along the lines of like, what are the chords for the Genesis Does commercial, or the song? And it gave me saying, oh, it's based off of this song, and gave me the name of the song and the artist. I'm like, I've never heard of this before, but I'm like, oh, okay. So I go to YouTube, I pull it up, I'm like, sweet, I'm going to pull it up, and I can just, get the karaoke version of this song or whatever and use that. And I'm listening to it, and I'm kind of like fast forwarding through the song. I'm like, this doesn't sound like the song at all. And so then I replied back to ChatGPT. I'm like, this song doesn't sound like this. And then it actually apologized. And like I said, I put this on my Facebook page, but it actually apologized and, oh, I'm sorry, you're right. I'm like, wow, okay, well, first of all, you're wrong, and thank you for apologizing, because a lot of people who get things wrong, they're and face with being wrong, they don't apologize. But it was, so that's good to keep in mind, that sometimes you don't want to just throw ChatGPT as a bot for your business and just expect it to do everything and know everything, because there's a good chance it doesn't. So that's where Dialogflow with Janice helps, where you can implement more of a training specifically for your business. So let's see, Dina says, since most of us here are not currently using chatbots, do you have a recommendation on how to get started? Yes. Go to ManyChat.com and connect your page, or your Facebook page and or your Instagram to that. And then I'm going to show you here. We've been chatting, but I actually have something to show you guys. Show you how to start implementing a chatbot with the comment growth tool, and then also the previous training I did a month ago. I kind of also went over just some general stuff, because I knew a lot of people were new to chatbot. So I would definitely start there, and then start small and don't go too crazy. Just something that's simple that can get people your whatever you're offering. Just something, you think about it as virtual assistant in a way that can help you and save you time and help you not have to be in your DMs all the time.
I'll grab you a link, Dina. I'll grab you
Yeah.
guys a link to that directly.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Here, let me grab another sparkling water here. Yeah, I mean, and with the chatbot too, I mean, the great thing is that it can do anything, but the downside also is that it can do anything. So you got to kind of know what you want to do, what you want to do with it, and what the goals are that you want with it before you get started. So you kind of know where, you reverse engineering. You're like, okay, well, I want to provide a lead magnet. So how am I going to do that? Or how do I want to get people into there? And what do I want to ask? Do I want to ask for their email? Do I want them to do something else? Right. So kind of reverse engineering that. So that way, overall scope of your initial chatbot flow. So I have a great lead magnet that I provide to portrait photographers. Ask their name, email, cell. Perfect. So you can do the same thing where you ask for their email and their phone number. Although if it's a lead magnet, the one thing is, as I'm sure asking people for their phone number, they get a little hesitant and they don't go forward with it sometimes, depending on what the offer is, right? If it's something like, oh my gosh, I can get 50% off if I provide my email, sure, or my phone number, sure. But a lot of times I see especially with just doing lead magnets and chatbots and stuff, if it's like a PDF, asking for their phone number, a lot of times people just stop. But if you get their email, the good news is not only do you have their email, you also have them opting into your chatbot. So then that way you can follow up with them, offer them something else afterwards, maybe scheduling an appointment. At that point, obviously, they would want to provide their phone number. But if it's somebody that's, super brand new to your brand and they're not quite sure, they probably will weigh the risk of like, do I want to provide my phone number? I do that all the time. Like I was looking into solar panels, and that was the biggest mistake ever to ever provide my phone number to a solar panel lead. It is the worst. Like
my mother-in-law's doing that with buying a car, and I cannot tell you. It actually made me laugh a little because I was thinking back to all the people who had been in DMC previously that did like marketing with like car dealers. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's like insurance. Yes, Eric, that's the other one.
Is another one.
It's like, they just do not quit, which like, listen, money is in the follow-up, but man.
Yes, but come on, don't be annoying. It's like, I'm now not going to go with you because you were calling me nonstop. And it's funny because actually I was for a little bit helping some solar companies, and I'm just like, I'm not going to help promote that activity of just being like crazy. So it's like asking them what their current way that they do leads, and if they say, oh yeah, we just call them a bunch, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to work with you. Sort of thing. So yeah, definitely don't be that person. But yeah, so I mean, if you're giving a lead magnet inside of, which I'm going to actually show you exactly what we're doing with Instagram on how to do that. And then the good news is because they're already in your chatbot, you can follow up with them within 24 hours of them engaging totally free. So you can just, follow up with them and say, hey, we're able to, like, for example, like you're saying with your photographer lead magnet, you can follow up, an hour later or whatever, you can set it to whatever timeline, but follow up with them saying, hey, want to just follow up, was this helpful? And then you can say, next steps, like, hey, if this is something that you're interested in, I can help you do XYZ, kind of up it a bit and say, if you're interested in going to the next level of whatever that is, you schedule a call with me, then you can give a link to your Acuity or Calendly or whatever. So that's, you can have a funnel within your chatbot that can go through to get people into whatever that final, because I'm assuming the lead magnet isn't the final thing that you're offering. So you can easily lead into that next part. Okay, so before I jump into, you want to book a call. So exactly. So I would just follow up with that, and I can show you also with that. And then my previous training was specific more toward appointment setting too. So you can do both too. You can, then retarget people who maybe have gotten a lead magnet or past, engagers, with directly to book a call versus having them go through the lead magnet. In the Q&A, Laura asked, will using a chatbot negatively impact my organic reach or engagement? I've heard that bots can be harmful to accounts. No, it does not negatively impact your organic reach at all or engagement. What you might have heard is when people create the bot, like for example, with the comment growth tool, which is what I'm going to show, especially with Facebook, I haven't heard so much with Instagram, but especially with Facebook, you don't want to ask people to just comment below with a certain word. That can get where your reach can get lowered because the engagement is not, I don't want to say poor, but it's not a lot. So really all you have to do is just change that to be like an open-ended question, right? So instead of saying, if you want XYZ, comment with this word below, you can say, comment below with your favorite whatever, or let me know below, a time when whatever, and then, and then I'll send you this, right? So that way you're getting engagement on your posts that isn't the same word over and over again. It's actually varied. So that's where the engagement piece where you might have heard that it was negatively impacted. Tessie says, is it a good idea to just provide them with a landing page, asking them for their name and email for the lead magnet, or just provide them with the lead magnet right in the DM? Oh, 100%, just do it right in the chatbot. So I actually have done a comparison and some numbers. The chatbot wins hands down if you're comparing running traffic to a landing page for asking for their email and their name to give the lead magnet versus in the chatbot. And the big thing and the big reason why that is because you can do follow-up. So like, let's say they click the button and they go into the DMs, and first of all, you don't have to ask for their name inside of the DMs because you already got it just from the messaging you. So that's one less step they have to do. And then with the email, with Facebook specifically, it will actually auto-populate an email in the flow itself. That all they have to do is click a button, kind of like a lead ad. Instagram, they don't have that yet, but still, it's really simple for them to just, it's a prompt, right? So it's conversation. So it says, okay, great. If you're interested in getting this, reply with your email below, and then they just reply with their email. But let's say they opt in and they're like reading about it, and then like, let's say they get distracted by their dog or their kids or whatever. On a landing page, they, their phone, turns off or whatever. They come back and maybe they have to go back to Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and they pull up and they're like, oh, I don't have time for this right now. And they just exit out, right? And then of course, then they're lost. You have no idea who that was. They're starting to put in their name, but they didn't hit submit. Versus the DMs where you can actually, they're a lead in terms of it being a message inside of the chatbot so that you can follow up with them, but also you can have it set up automated follow-ups where like within 20 minutes, if they don't respond, you can send a prompt saying, hey, were you still interested in this? Go ahead and reply with your email below. I actually did I guess a study with one of my clients who was an orthodontist, seeing how much or how many leads, and the whole premise of this was to get people to schedule a time for a free consultation. And so of course we asked email, the patient's name, so the patient's name was the first thing, email, and then phone number, and then had them go schedule through Acuity. And so it was like a 4-step process. And so each of those steps, I had reminder messages if they didn't complete it. And I did some analysis of those people who actually who got the reminder messages. 30% of those who got a reminder message ended up finally booking after the reminder message. So they actually got 30% more leads just from the reminder messages compared to people who just went all the way through without stopping. So that's a big piece to keep in mind when you're getting leads, is that a chatbot can do that follow-up and really help. So hopefully that helps. Yes. Okay. Eric said, I'm fascinated recently with creating the instant gratification sales conversations. That's what I believe Dan's been doing with his ManyChat sales bot, even to higher ticket. Is that what you're going to be showing us today over Instagram? So I'm not sure exactly what instant gratification sales conversations are. I mean, it's pretty much, they get it right away after they opt in. So in terms of that, it's instant gratification because they opt in and they get whatever it is. So And that whatever that is can be whatever. It can be a lead magnet, it can be scheduling a call, it can be content, video, whatever, right? So if it's something that they that you want to provide, then you can do that straight away, after they provide that information inside the chatbot. So
And I think Dan
let
went
me know
over
if
that a
that's
little bit in the first call he did for Legacy. So in that that sort of live training area in the inside your Kajabi, the first program. I forget the exact name of it because I've changed it more than once. So sorry about that, guys. But I just dropped a link a little while ago. So that same section, if you back out of that page, is actually Dan going over something like that, Eric. And what it is it's basically kind of what also you had mentioned and trained on last month as well. It's just a sort of basic chatbot, and then at the end he does like tagging or some kind of round robin to people who are actual salespeople, right? And then they have a conversation, and I think it's pretty. I could be speaking out of turn here, but I think it's pretty natural. I don't think it's a very scripted conversation. They ask a couple quick questions, and then they jump on a shorter call if they need to, and usually they do.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of takes the place of a setter by just jumping in. So it's got the bot, and then the salesperson jumps in directly, and it just cut that out. And you probably know all about that because I think you helped with that originally, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I was
There
like,
you
oh
go,
yeah, that
guys.
sounds familiar. But and that's the other thing too, is if you have some a sales team or people who are appointment setters, that you can have them inside of ManyChat as users that they can be notified. It can actually assign it to them, and they can be notified and jump in at that point. So I'm all about trying to automate as much as possible, but also I can see the benefit of having somebody who's obviously not automated, not a bot. Although you can definitely make your chatbots where people feel like it's an actual person. Funny side note is I had to set up the chatbot for Afroman, and I do not speak like Afroman. And the way he spells things,
What?
he
No
doesn't use the
way.
word. Yeah, and he doesn't use a K when he uses, and he's so it's always C and a bunch of C's or whatever. So I had to study his posts to see how he writes. And so I created this chatbot, talking about his tour and stuff like that. And people thought it was actually him, which is so funny. It's like, really? Yeah,
It's
he's
a
just hanging out in the
compliment.
DMs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can definitely make, and that's the other thing too, is when you're first setting up a chatbot, you want to decide if you want to make it be like you, or you can make it like a virtual, and you can refer to it as like a virtual assistant. So that way, there is some sort of leeway. So if it doesn't do exactly what you want, that you're like, oh, that was just my bot or whatever. So a lot of my clients, they have a name for their bot, and they refer to it, like, hey, comment below, and so bot, will send it to you. So, but again, it depends on how you want to set it up. But there's a lot of different ways you can do it. But let me, Carla can give me access to share my screen. I will
Yes.
show you guys what I'm talking about here. And I'll go kind of fast, but just because it's got 15 minutes. We've gone by more than 45 minutes. That's crazy. But I'll show you exactly what we're doing. And then also, I actually created a template for you guys to make it so you can just take it and implement it. But I at least wanted to go over so you guys understand how some of this works, and to help reduce frustration. Because obviously I get a lot of questions from people like, this doesn't work. Why is this not working? And it's like, oh, well, you forgot this. And it's like something super simple. So if we're going to be doing like an Instagram opt-in for organic reach, you have a couple different ways to do it. So with the starting step, this is where you can choose the trigger. And with Instagram, it's really simple. Like, these are your triggers, and that's it. Obviously, if you have Facebook, there's a lot more. And but if we're doing Instagram or WhatsApp is very limited. And you can see there's no SMS one. But if someone does text your SMS number, it does go in there. But for Instagram, you pretty much have an Instagram keyword. This is within the DM itself. So message you and they reply with a keyword, that is what will fire off that will trigger off the flow. Then here are the other keyword options that are connected to posts. So this is Instagram comment posts, story replies, and then live comments. So if you do like an Instagram live, then this would be for that. But if you're doing like a story or a reel, that would be this one that you can use there. And then Instagram comments, like I said, or this is posts and reels. This is the story. So comments are for posts and reels, and then stories are for stories. So that, I don't know why they put those two together, but they did. So just showing you the keyword. So this is the Instagram keyword for if someone DMs you specifically. There's a different, I know I had mentioned earlier that I was going to talk about the keyword. So this is where it can be slightly AI-ish, where the message contains a certain word, or you can have it is a specific word, contains a whole word, begins with, thumbs up, doesn't contain. So there's some initial ways to set up your keyword. One thing that you want to, I guess, keep in mind is a lot of times you'll want to do message is if possible. An example of a keyword when I was first starting doing bots is, let's see, what was it exactly? So I had the keyword of message contains, and then it was just thank you. And then it would say like, you're welcome. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be cool. I'm going to just have it say, you're welcome, right? And then it says thank you, because it's going to be this cool response that's going to know what they're saying. Well, one time it was in one of my clients' bots, somebody said something along the lines of, I'm sorry I couldn't attend, blah, blah, blah. My mom died, I appreciate your help, thanks so much. Oh, thanks, that's what it was. And it said contains thanks, like thanks so much or something, and just be like, you're welcome. And so it just had no empathy. It was like, or, the other option or other example would be like, if somebody's negative about something, like, thanks, but no, or thanks, but your service sucks or something. It's like, you're welcome. So context is definitely key here. But that's also to the earlier point of using Dialogflow. Dialogflow and Janice will understand intent. So if somebody says thanks, but your service sucks, it won't say you're welcome. It'll understand the intent is that it's negative. So keep that in mind. But with your offers, like if you have a lead magnet, usually I do message is, then that way it is specifically one thing. So like if you have offer, right, the message is that. But if they said I want the offer, then it won't send. Or if they do offer and they're cute and they add a emoji, then it throws it off and it's like, oh, God dang it. So it's definitely keeping that in mind. The other thing that I do sometimes is, like, if I do messages offer and then I create that, and then I do another trigger of a keyword, a message contains, but then you can do conditions. So you can add conditions like it contains one word and also another word, or begins with, or doesn't contain. So you can have some conditions to your keywords, but just trying to keep it simple. I usually try to just say message is that, and then if they don't say it right, if they just add other stuff, then it's like, well, they don't get it. And another thing of when you're promoting it, you can say message me the password, because they know, okay, a password, you don't add extra stuff. So if you like make it sound like, oh, it's a password, then they're like, okay, I'm not going to add anything else extra to it. So that, again, the Instagram keyword is for people who are messaging you directly. So for the organic piece of people commenting on your posts, that's where this comes into play. So this is the Instagram comments, and you can choose if it's going to be a specific post or a reel or all publications or the next publication. So right now you can't schedule posts, like a bunch of posts, and connect them ahead of time for Instagram. You can with Facebook, but not for Instagram. So if you have a lead magnet that you're always promoting or whatever, then I would choose all publications. And then you can say only trigger with these keywords. And you can say, that's the password, right? But if you're going to have like the next publication, like, okay, I'm going to post a reel, or I'm going to post, an image on Instagram, and I want anybody who comments on that to get my offer, then you would just leave this blank and just have next publication, and then it would send it to anybody who comments. So that's the main two use cases, or like I said, specific post to reel. This is if it's already been published. So the downside to that is obviously you want to have your chatbot, if you have the call to action of commenting with something, you want to have your chatbot connected ahead of time, so you're not missing out on anybody. But this would be if you wanted to choose a specific post or reel after it's been posted. And then the other piece of this is you can have an auto response. So you can add a bunch of different comment replies to that it'll not do all of them all the same one. You can have different ones to add variability. So this will then respond to people who comment with whatever your response here is. For Facebook, you can actually also like the comment, but with Instagram, that's not an option. But at least you can still reply to them, which you can say something like check your DMs, sending it to you, so that way you let them know, and then they have the next call to action. So the big thing with Instagram comment as being the entry point. So people commenting on a post, on a reel, or on a story, is you need to have your initial message as an Instagram reply comment. So that way it will only send to those, or that way it'll send to those people. So the reason behind this is, just for context so you guys understand, is somebody does not become a subscriber to your chatbot until they reply to a message in the chatbot. So if they comment with something on a post, it will send this initial message, but they don't become a subscriber until they engage with this first message. Then that way they have engaged with you in DMs, and then that way they become a subscriber. So until they engage with this first message, then they're not a subscriber. So you want to definitely have this super simple, and you can see it takes out everything else. The only thing you can have is a button and text. So the goal is to have them just click the button. So you want to say, to get my lead magnet, click the button below, and then it'll just like click here, and then that way then they will become a subscriber, and then you can send them whatever else. So one big thing though is, because if someone's DMing you inside of Instagram with the keyword, you don't want to necessarily send this where it's like, oh, now they have to click a button and then they get it. Like, you want to be able to have it separate. So I actually, and in the template that I'll let you guys have access to, I actually have it set up where I have two flows. One is the comment growth tool initial flow, and then the comment, and then the flow that they go into. So actually, I'm just going to show you guys that instead of just building it, since also we have like 5 minutes. Okay, so let's see. Does that subscriber piece allow you to contact them over the longer period of time, or does it require an additional opt-in for that? Yeah, so once they opt in, that allows you to contact them in the future. So again, there is a free window of 24 hours of them last engaging. So once they opt in, that starts that 24-hour clock. Every time they engage with your chatbot, that increases that, reopens or restarts that 24-hour window. But also, like I said, there is the option for a recurring notification, so they can opt in to receive, weekly tips or daily or whatever. But they have to explicitly opt in for that. So you can also get them to re-opt in through another comment on a post in the future, right? So there's other ways to get them to re-engage inside the chatbot, but that has the ability to allow you to have them opt in. The recurring notification, when do you normally ask for that in your flows? Probably like right after they get whatever the lead magnet is, right? So you got to give them also an incentive to opt in. So like, let's say, for example, the lead magnet, like was mentioned earlier about photography. It's like, oh, would you like to receive my future tips that I send out weekly to help photographers do XYZ? And they click yes. And they click, get messages. And then that opts them in to be able to receive those future messages. So I usually do it after they opt in and get the thing that they're going there for. Okay, so this is what's going to be in the template. And then for this template, all you guys need to do is message my Orca Marketology Instagram with the word CGT, and that stands for Comment Growth Tool. So that's, I was like, oh, that's easy enough. So what happens is, so for example, when someone opts in for an initial message through the Comment Growth Tool, here's the initial message that says, hello to whatever the thing, you know, get this amazing lead magnet, find out how we can help you scale to $1 million in 3 days, or whatever it is. Tap the button below. And then when they click on that, it then takes them to the offer opt-in. And you can see here, this is the starting step, the trigger, that is the Instagram comment. So again, this is, you know, from the Facebook post, or sorry, Facebook, Instagram post or the Instagram reel, that if they comment on that, then they will get this. But this isn't when somebody comes and messages a keyword into your bot, because again, you don't want to necessarily have them have to click another button when they've already engaged. And you know, the whole premise of this is to get somebody to engage with your bot to become a subscriber. So you're actually removing a step with having it set up like this. So then what it does is then it goes into this open flow. Oh, the other thing is I had this comment reply tag that's added to people. So that way in this flow, you'll see, it'll look to see if they came from the Comment Growth Tool or not. So this is what it looks like. So when they opt in, get chat out of the way here. So when they opt in, it automatically looks, okay, did they come in through a organic post comment or not? So if they did, which is what we just saw, then it'll remove that comment reply tag, and then it'll look to see if they have provided their email previously or not. If they haven't, then it says, okay, great, to get this, you know, reply with your email below. And then once they reply with their email, it'll look here to see if their email has any value. So the thing is with this, let me hit edit here so you can see with the email opt-in, you can have it expire. So if the user hasn't responded within 23 minutes, it'll send this reminder message. Looks like I didn't get your email. If you want, you know, this thing, reply with your email below. So if they haven't replied with their email within 23 minutes, and again, you can change this to whatever you want. You can change it to 2 minutes. You can change it to 23 hours. Don't do days, 23 days, because after 23 hours or 24 hours, you can't send anything. So you can change this to whatever you want. But also what happens is if they don't reply with an email, it will say, you know, please enter a correct email. And then it will also provide a skip button. So the skip button is useful sometimes for things like, you know, if they want to provide their phone number, or if not, then they can just, you know, end up hitting skip. But if you want them to make sure that they have to provide their email, then, you know, and then with the skip button, that then they go through the condition to look to see if they actually did provide the email. You could also just delete that skip button, but this way it's easier, especially if maybe your follow-up message, maybe you don't want to ask them to reply with their email again. You want to just provide a message and say, hey, if you have any questions, reply with them below. But this way, it's kind of like a gate. So they can't go forward and get whatever it is without them providing their information. And then once they provide their email, then it gives them the thing. So it can either be, you can do a, if it's audio or whatever, but usually you do a button that is that's a website. So obviously change out this, don't send people to my website, change this out. There's not an option to add a file or anything. So for Instagram, so usually what I do is I create I put it into like Google Drive or Dropbox, and I just put the links there. If you're going to do a PDF. Now, if you're doing an appointment, this is where then you would just say, great, to schedule an appointment, click the button below, and then it'll take them to your Calendly or Acuity or whatever, right? So then you just change that for whatever you want. Now, earlier we were talking, and this isn't obviously going to be in, oh wait, before I do that, let me talk about this down here. So if they instead, so here's the triggers. So this is where we just came from, right? With that initial message as a comment growth tool, if somebody commented on a post. But let's say they instead did a keyword, they message your page itself, they go to your Instagram account, and they go into DMs and they message the keyword, which also changes out, unless you want to have keyword as your keyword. But let's say they do that, well, they're not a comment reply. So you want to get straight into the next step, which is, hey, great, reply with your email below. Or if they've already provided their email previously, then it says, okay, great, I'm giving you this amazing thing that's going to change your life, click below, and they'll send it to me. So that way, the two different ways that people are coming in, it's relevant. That's the biggest thing with chatbots, is you want to make things as relevant as possible, and not sending fluff, because that's how people will drop off or tune out your bot. So definitely making it as relevant as possible, which is conditions, and setting up conditional logic for that. Okay, so then the other piece that we were talking about earlier, and again, this obviously is not in the template, but someone's asking about, like, doing a lead magnet and then following up to a call. So what you can do after that is you can then do a smart delay of, let's say you want to give them, like, maybe 15 minutes to look it over. And then you can do a follow-up message that says, like, hey, what did you think about the lead magnet, or whatever you want to call it, right? And then this is where you can either let them answer, or they might not answer, but you can, have it be a conversation in a way, and ask them, like, oh, what did you think? And then you can have, like, buttons like, oh, I loved it, or whatever, and like, something like that. So then that way you can provide responses based off of that. So that's one strategy. The other one is, if you don't want to have an extra step, if you want to just kind of get to the point of the appointment piece, then that's where you can do something similar, where it's like, what do you think about the lead magnet? If you're wanting to go to the next step or next level, book a call with me by clicking below. Okay, and then putting here that, and then that's where you can put in your schedule. So yeah, you can just do whatever, right? Whatever matches your style. Yeah, thinking back to Afro Man. But yeah, so then that way you can have that follow-up within the chatbot that way, and then that way it's not just the lead magnet and then having to wait for them reading lead magnets and maybe book a call if it's on there, or trying to do retargeting ads. You can still do that, obviously, but this way it's direct, it's one-on-one to the person based off of their flow through the chatbot. So yeah, anyways, well, I guess we're a few minutes past. Let's see if there's any other questions. How do bots and avatars impact an actual conversation? Well, it has a conversation, like, it's creating the conversation. So for you, it saves your time and helps your user get what they're looking for quicker. So not having to wait for you to respond.
Here's a question kind of along the same lines. If you have something set up where it's having a conversation with somebody and a person jumps in, let's say you or someone on the sales team or whatever, how does that impact the flow?
That's a very good question. If you respond from within the live chat of ManyChat, it'll pause all the automation. But instead, if you're responding from, like, Instagram inbox or Facebook Messenger inbox as the page, the bot doesn't know that that's you, and to stop the automation. So it's really simple. ManyChat has their own app even, and also it helps to, when you get a lot of messages coming through your chatbot, when you go to your Instagram inbox or your Facebook inbox, it is a nightmare of just, like, so many messages, because it's a bunch of people going through it through all the automation. So it's hard to know who's saying what, and maybe someone's asking a question, you're not sure. But inside of ManyChat, you can set up the live chat where it will actually only show you the messages of people who have been asking questions outside of the automation. So Tessie, you go to my Instagram, Orca Marketology. I'll type that in here. And then you respond with the keyword CGT. And then it'll send it to you. Do you use CF Pro Tools with Messenger opt-in checkbox? If so, do you have a good response rate when you DM them? I don't use that. really, I just have them, if I'm going to use a button in like a ClickFunnels landing page, I just have it to a ref URL that goes to Messenger. So it is specifically Messenger. So there's no way right now, Facebook or Meta has not created a way to have an Instagram link that opts into your Instagram DMs. You'd have to just give a link to your Instagram profile and then have them DM you. And then that way, that's how they can come into it. But the Messenger opt-in checkbox, they've actually also, there's been issues where they have to check it. So they have to still take action. You can't just have it pre-checked. They used to not have that. And that was interesting. People would just put that checkbox or saying you're opting in like way down below on the page. So no one saw it, that they could uncheck it and then just start sending the messages. It was kind of shady a bit. But yeah, I don't even use the Messenger check-in box anymore just because it goes straight into Messenger, or Messenger with that ref URL. Let's see, does ManyChat or any of the integrations have a conversational flow for calendars versus the calendar widget? So like an API with that. So in terms of availability, there is, I think, one that has been created, but really what you can do also is you can use bot sheets. That's one that's much more versatile, that uses Google Sheets. So but then again, it's a little, it's still kind of manual. My suggestion, just because it's already using what's out there, is for appointment setting, is using Acuity. It's amazing with ManyChat, because then you can send a message after somebody has booked. You can collect payments if you're doing it that way, if you're doing like consultations or whatever. It's much more versatile, but there are ways to pull in through API availability and then being able to put that out there. But it definitely is not really simple. It does take extra work to do that. So does that also get us this offer opt-in bot? Yeah, so that's what this gives you, is this this offer opt-in and the initial Instagram flow too. When is the auto money bot?
That is next. Yeah, that's pretty close. Emmanuel, that's next month. And if you filled out the form, then you have already gotten an email from me with all that information. If you bought and you didn't fill out the Google form after you bought through the Grant Cardone launch, then send us an email at support@getclients.com and we will help you track that down.
And then do you recommend a call tracking and text platform that you combine with this, like CallRail? So if you are wanting to schedule calls and have people call you from here, you definitely want to have a call tracking software, because I don't even know, I haven't tried. Let's see. Yeah, so you can't even from Instagram have a button that's a call button, but you can in Messenger. But with Messenger, you can't track who's clicking it. So either way, Instagram and or Messenger, if you have CallRail, that's a specific number, then I would definitely use that. And then if you're using it for texting, you could do that. But Twilio, if you can do a lot of tracking with within ManyChat with SMS. So so yeah, so that's also where you can track who's clicked links and things like that. But definitely if you're doing calls, then you want to do that with a tracking software. Would you suggest ManyChat or Dialogflow when using Janus? So it's actually all the above. So you use Janus with your ManyChat bot, and Janus brings in Dialogflow and makes Dialogflow easier to implement into your ManyChat bot. So it's all integrated into there. So yeah, definitely suggest that. Cool. All right. Well, I guess if you guys don't forget to get the template of this flow, and then please modify it. Again, don't send people to my website. I mean, you can if you want, but it might be weird.
Yeah, feel free. We've had that happen. We've had that. You've been like, this is no surprise to you, I'm sure. But we've had people sometimes that will get like the share funnel that we give out from ClickFunnels.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, why is it like showing? It's like, okay, it's showing our stuff. You have to,
Yeah,
you have to modify that. But you know, listen, it happens, I guess.
exactly. Exactly. So again, to get the template, just go to my Instagram, Orca Marketology. Again, I'll post it in the chat, and then just DM my bot with the letter CGT.
Very
And
meta, guys.
that,
You're gonna see it
yeah,
and experience it. I love
it's
it.
really simple. Yeah, so it's weird. It's almost like Inception, because you're gonna also experience going through a lead magnet thing where it asks your email and then gives you the link to the or gives you the template. So it's like, ooh, this is the firsthand experience of it. So but yeah, so you can get that and then implement it into your if you don't, I should also mention, if you don't yet have ManyChat, set that up first, because you got to have a place for your template to go. So it'll probably yeah, I guess I could do that. Instagram. I mean,
Yeah.
it's Instagram.com / Orca Marketology.
Eric
Sure.
says, is the auto money bot going to be sold again if we didn't make the Cardone camp? I would, so here's what I'll say. I never say never, because listen, Dan gets ideas, so we don't make hard, like, have hard lines there. But not at this time. There's literally no plans for it outside of that launch. Mostly, I guess that will depend on what he wants to do in the future, and then how the live training goes and all of that. Because I know he really did want to just kind of focus on running through that stuff in detail live, and he's going to be building one out live, and then he's also going to be doing some oh my god, yeah, talking about content for it, offers. He committed to a lot. Just saying, as he does. Anybody who's been around knows when he is especially in competitive offer mode, he tends to commit a ton of value. So that day, for anybody who got in on that Grant Cardone launch, that day is going to be a lot of value. And there will be a recording for anybody who can't attend live. Eric said you filled out the form, Tessie. Awesome. You did not get the link. Huh. Okay. Well, let me make a note of that, because I have a whole spreadsheet for that, just for that reason. Okay. Tessie Rogers. Eric says, is there a scripting legacy that's based off of that we can use a framework to build our own? He went over kind of the very high level of it in the first call that we did I want to say it was like the day after Christmas. So it's in that call recording area. But it was pretty high level. So if you can figure out how to build bots, and that might be enough for you, truly, because it is pretty simple. The way that he's using on Instagram is pretty simple, but I just, want to throw that out there, that it isn't. Just be transparent with you guys. Set the right expectation that it is pretty high level.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. And then also, if you guys have any questions,
yours too, Emmanuel.
I
see your as well. Sorry, I know. Side conversation.
No, I was just gonna say, if there's any, if you have any questions or anything, you can obviously send me a message, or post it in the group, and I can answer it there. Just tag me. And then of course, if you guys have questions of something that you want me to maybe go in depth on, I know next month we're talking about doing more with the ChatGPT stuff, but if there's anything else that you guys want me to discuss, then yeah, you can just.
There's $1 million question. We'll wrap it up with this. Eric wants to know why orcas. Why orcas?
I wanted to be a marine biologist. So my background is actually, I'm a clinically certified cytogeneticist. I was analyzing chromosomes for over a decade before I found Dan and got into his course. And then the rest is history, being able to quit my job. But before that, I wanted to be a marine biologist and study whales. I live in Washington State, so it's off of the coast of Seattle. There's a lot of whales. It's like my most favorite animal, actually. My senior picture in high school. This was before the movie Blackfish, if you've seen that. But I was able to go down to SeaWorld, and they allowed me to take my picture hugging the whale. So I got to hug the whale and pet the whale and all that stuff.
So you and I have this in common, because I'm from the Bay Area, and I went to Marine World a lot as a kid and obsessed. And I actually got when I moved to the Northwest, I actually went and saw Takeo at
Yeah.
Newport before he was released. But I've never been orca watching up by you. I've never been up
Oh,
that far up and done it, but it is so high on my bucket list. You guys have no idea, because that's like prime. I don't even know if there's another place in the world, maybe parts of Alaska, a certain
like
points of
Norway,
the year.
you can
Oh,
do it.
Norway. Oh,
But yeah,
true.
so
Yes.
Seattle, definitely off of San Juan's. This is actually how my husband won me over. He
I
scheduled
love
a
it.
trip, a 3-day trip to go kayak with orcas off of San Juan. So we did it was amazing. I mean, the whales were coming right underneath it. It was
Oh
like,
my
so he knew,
God.
it's like, I could not say no to that. So, but yeah, that's the one of the best experiences I've ever had is seeing them in the wild. So yeah, definitely check them out, San Juan Islands, and I think it was like called Sea Quest or something. So check it out.
I've been to the islands. I've been to Vashon and all those places, but a couple of those islands, I should say. But I have never been out. And guys, like seriously, that whole area
Yeah,
is beautiful. Monterey,
it
yes,
is.
I've done all the Monterey too. That's the typical
Yeah,
California road trip there. I'm
exactly.
glad you remember Marine World, so I don't feel so old, because that's like I don't even know, it's Six Flags now. Don't do any of that because of Blackfish. It's all. I'm sure they
Oh
got
yeah,
rid
I
of that.
know. I'm like,
That
oh,
whole thing.
so
Oh my God, good
awesome.
stuff, guys.
Well, yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions, and tag me in the group if as you're building it, your bot, and you have any questions, and I can help you out.
Alrighty,
So
guys. Thanks
awesome.
for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks, Mackenzie.
All right. Yep.
Bye, guys.
Bye.